Okay.
I don't know. I mean, I've seen games between and played other people. So it's a tournament, you know? It's a tournament. And actually, we have a great woman player of the national team here, a legend in women's basketball in Greece, and her mother is Filipino.
What is her name?
Her name is Lolita Limura. She has a Greek name, last name, Lolita Limura.
Okay.
National
Guys,
team player,
yeah.
big time women's player.
So I'm gonna broadcast now. We can still chat while the attendees comes in. So
Yes.
So
You
we
guys,
yeah. Well, and then I'll give you a heads up when we're starting. So yeah, I'm starting to broadcast now, so that the attendees can come in. All right. So yeah, you can. Sorry to interrupt. There you go. They're starting to enter. So we have yeah.
do I have time to shut my phone off?
You want to? Yeah.
The ringer off, so it doesn't ring.
All right.
Can I do
All
that?
right. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. We're just waiting for the participants. We have 34 right now inside. So welcome everyone, fellow coaches, to this first ever Hoop Coaches International webinar presented to you by, of course, Blackwater Elite. And of course, would like to thank my boss Giselle Ducy and Boss Siliman C for making this happen, and for everyone in our product management group. So, and with me this evening is two panelists that will facilitate the question and answer. So we have Doc Teddy, who's a sports psychologist. He also handles team building seminars, and he was just recently he handled the Blackwater team building seminar. He also, right now that we're into quarantine, he's also into online consultation. So if you want to consult him, I'll be more than happy to send you his information. And then we have, of course, someone that doesn't need any further introduction, known broadcaster, and he's called the Dean. Kinito Henson has helped me a lot in promoting this online webinar, which was an idea brought about because I've been attending webinars from the States, and it's causing me a lot of sleepless nights. So my fellow coaches was asking me to have one in our time zone. And without further ado, also, I'd like to introduce Coach Mike KALAVROS. Did I pronounce it right, Coach?
Yes, perfect.
So he's a player development coach, and I posted his profile. So he's the player development coach of Olympiakos in the EuroLeague in Greece. He's live now from Greece. So Teddy, any few words from Teddy and our panelists?
This webinar is also brought to us by Hoop Coaches International, another sponsor.
Thank you.
Coach Mike, what challenges do player development coaches face during this time of social distancing? You're not physically in the same space as your players. What adjustment does a player development coach have today?
Well, hello. First of all, I want to thank you for having me. It's a great honor to be part of this. Well, it's been something that we have never experienced before. At least I haven't in my life. You know, and it's the same thing that happens all over the world. I mean, it's crazy. I mean, we've had in the past instances that happen in Greece only, or in or in Italy or in some other part of the world where, you know, we sympathize with that. But having one thing and a virus to be spread out in the whole world is just crazy. So it's overwhelming. You don't really know what to do. So what they do, my players, first of all, I try to talk to them as much as I can, like as often as I can. And what they do is they lift weights at home, or they run outside. Some of them, they have the place at home and they can do some ball handling. You got to do something. I mean, but not being able to do a regular practice to shoot the ball at the hoop is just killing them. But we've got to find ways. I mean, this is also challenging. What is a challenge? A challenge is something that at the end, you're gonna, if you have the character, you're gonna become better. So this is what I tell my son. My son is a basketball player. He's almost 14 years old. And I said, listen, what can you do now? You can be the best ball handler, a lot better than you were. So, or you can improve your physical conditioning by running outside. So you got to do the best you can out of the situation. I try to talk to my players a lot, as much as I can. And because they're a lot of guys, you can't really, if I were to talk to everybody every day, it would just take, the whole day away. And try to keep it positive. And from what I hear from them, they try to be in the best shape as possible by running outside or by doing, heat workouts at home and being the best shape possible until the gym's open again and we start practicing.
Mike, you've been described as a personal improvement coach, aside
Yes.
of being a player development coach. What exactly is the role of someone like you, quite apart from being a coach or an assistant coach for a team?
Yeah, well, I've done everything in basketball. I've worked with very, very young kids. I've been a head coach myself in professional leagues, New Zealand, Norway. A little bit, I had a stint in Greece as an interim coach. So I've done pretty much everything. What I do now is first of all, I think my talent is to work with guys individually. And and this is my talent. Everybody has a special talent. So I think my special talent as a coach is to work with guys individually and not as a head coach, let's say. I can do a good job as a head coach, but there is thousands of guys doing a better job than me. So my charisma, I think, it's working with guys individually. So what I try to do is I try to get the guys better, okay? The first thing you got to do is know the player very well. And players come to me, and before my job with Olympiakos, I used to work in the summers with like almost all the pros in Greece and some guys outside of Greece. So players come to you to become better players, because this is the question, right, Benito?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they come to you to make them better. And of course, offensively. I don't work on defense, and I don't work on passing a lot. I work on individual skills to make a player a better offensive player, to get a guy from Division 3 to Division 2. If a guy is meant to play Division 2 with my work, he can play Division 1. If he is a 10-point player a game, with the work that we put in, hopefully he'll go to 18 points a game. And all those things translate to better money, better contracts, and better level of basketball. So what I do is it's simple. They come to me and I try to make them better players. And now in today's basketball, where scouting is everything, you play a team and you know the players of the team inside out. You know the players of the opponent better than they know themselves. So a player comes to me and says to me, for instance, Mike, I have trouble. I'm a shooter, so I come off a screen, and if they switch on me with a bigger and athletic guy, I got a problem. I can either I want to get my shot off quicker, or I want to be able to put it on the floor and create something more. So you give them that extra thing, especially with the pros. So to me, player development is two things: is working with young players and build them habits, and working with pros who have already established their identity. But you help them every summer to bring something new in their game. Maybe one thing new, or maybe two things. It depends on the player. Like, for instance, a shooter. I want to give him one more option coming off the screens. That would be floaters. Put it on the floor and create your own shot. A better finisher at the rim, because there's shooters who just catch and shoot the ball. But then what they do now in today's basketball, what they do is they say, run these guys of the three-point line, make him a driver. So defenses are smart, right? I mean, so if you have a great shooter and he's coming up a pick, what am I telling my guy? Don't let JJ Redick shoot a three. You got to make him a driver. So when you make him a driver, he's got to be able to finish and be a good driver. So they come to you to become better drivers. And of course, remain their identity and their ability as a shooter. You don't take that away. But you got to invest in their game, and you got to see what they did last year and what they struggled with, and you help them through that. You give them more options in the summer, you know?
How much of your work, Mike, is physical and how much of it is mental? And did you go to school for this? I know you went to Thomas Edison State University. Is that true? In New Jersey?
Yeah,
So did you take up anything there?
No,
Helped you?
I took up criminal justice. No,
Oh,
nothing.
criminal justice. Okay.
Yeah, nothing in basketball, because I played basketball when I was younger. I played a little bit in college, very little basketball. But then when I came, but I've always wanted to become a coach. I never dreamt of becoming a basketball player. I've dreamt of becoming a good coach ever since I was 18. I would read books about coaching. So I'm guessing that there's schools and seminars and clinics that you can go and become. But I mean, to me, is you gotta want it. Like when you go to bed that night, what do you dream before you get to bed? Like, you know, your head is on the pillow. What do you dream of? What do you think of? Like, I think of closed gyms, me and a couple of guys working out, sweating, making them better. Other coaches think of titles. You know, I want to win the EuroLeague title or the NBA title, or I'm dreaming of becoming a head coach in the NBA. That's not my case. My case is I want to work guys out behind closed doors with no lights, no nothing. You know, you got to have a passion for that. You got to want that. You got to love. Like, we have a player who's a great player. His name is Taylor Rochester. You know, he played in China. He's a big-time EuroLeague player, American, and he's a great passer. And I said, Taylor, how do you're in basketball so many years, and then all of a sudden, you know, very simple questions pop out. You know, so I go to Taylor one day in practice, and I say to him, Taylor, how come you're such a great passer? I mean, you see things other people don't. And he says to me, I love passing, Mike. I just love it. You know, so I love doing this. And if you really love something, then you're gonna become really good at it. You know, if you work on it, and you gotta, you know, there's ways how to become better at it every day, but you gotta love it first. This has to be your passion. Other people, like I said, they have the coaching, the game coaching is their passion. You know, not me.
Coach Ariel, I think we've got some questions in our chat box.
Yes. From Angelica Calma. As a coach, how will we improve the confidence and camaraderie of our players?
Confidence, okay, of individual workouts is number one. So the player comes to you and you have drills that build their confidence, right? So if a guy comes to you, let's say, okay, you're not shooting the ball very well lately. Well, we're gonna do those 3 drills. What other drills? Like, okay, it depends on the level of the player, right? So let's say you work with a pro, and the hardest thing is when a pro loses their confidence. That's hard, because there's a lot of pressure from the fans, from the press, when a young kid that nobody really cares about their games, it's easy. They're young kids, and you can talk to them into with a lot of talking, they get their senses and they come back to it. But when a pro loses their confidence, is really, really hard. So what do you do with them? You come, okay, you haven't been shooting the ball very well lately. So let's see, we're gonna do this drill. So we're gonna hit 5 in a row from 5 spots. To leave the spot, you gotta make 5 in a row. That's not easy. Or it could be 7 in a row. Or okay, you know, if you're a shooter, whatever you do, I try to do this in a row drills, like 5 in a row from 7 spots. Or you can do, we can go 1 dribble pull-ups, 7 in a row. Or pick and roll snakes, 5 in a row. So whatever he struggles with, or she, you try to do this. Make a hard drill, make an easy drill in the beginning, 2 in a row. Then you leave practice, and that guy has made like 7 in a row from 7 spots, or 5 in a row coming off a pick and roll. And you tell him, listen, you can do this. You have the ability. I mean, you just did 7 in a row from 7 spots in like 4 minutes. That's a tough drill to do. Only a great shooter can do that, and you did it. So you build it. You build their confidence through the individual workouts. Then they go to practice, and then if you coach them in practice, if they're your players, let's say, I'm always on them during practice. I know a guy struggles, so I'll be running up and down the sidelines with him. Okay, that was a good shot, or that wasn't a good shot. Don't worry, you get the next one. So you try to build them up if you have them on your team. If not, you have to contact them and communicate with them. But you got to build their confidence through tough drills drills that gradually become tougher. But they're gonna leave practice having done something really tough. Once they have done this, then they have they said, oh, you know what? Mike is right. I mean, that was a tough thing to do, and I did it. So I am a good shooter, or I am a great rebounder, or I, whatever the case might be.
Mike,
So
how long are your
drills.
sessions?
Excuse me? My sessions.
How long are your
depend.
sessions?
Like, okay, it depends on how many guys you have. Like if you have one guy, I wouldn't go more than 1 hour. And then at the end of the hour, if we have time, I will let him, we're going to do spot up shooting. So if we have one guy, no more than an hour, 45 minutes to an hour, because we do go hard. We go game-like shots at game-like speed. So with a pro, I would go 45 minutes to an hour. If I have 4 or 5 guys in a group, then you can go to an hour and 15 minutes. But I always want to, because in that time, I try to do 4-man groups because they play 2-on-2 or 1-on-1. Because individual workouts without defense, you get the skill and the habit, but adding a defender in, it's a totally different situation. Everybody looks great in 1 versus 0. But what if the guy, you want to go between the legs and the guy just shows up suddenly, the defense, you gotta react. It's different than going without defense. So
Mike, here's a question from Mark Jason Mendoza. If you're a newbie in the player development business, how will you convince a player to work with you? And I think this goes back to the question I asked earlier. How much of your work is physical? How much is mental?
Yeah, I forgot to ask them. Physical is mental is it's. I think I do it in one package. I always talk to the guys. So my drills are usually like I said before, 4 in a row, 5 in a row. That's mental. We're hardly gonna go and shoot like 300 shots. Because you don't have the time. If you do this, then you don't have the time for anything else. So one day might be, if I have one guy, I'll say, let's just do spot ups today. Okay. And it will add up to 300 shots. That's a different story. But if you don't have that time and you want to make him a better shooter, you want to work on his shooting, you're going to have to do drills. Like I said, like you're going to have to work mentally on the guy, make it tough for him. Like, you want to go. So there's a drill that we do 4 out of 5 shots to leave the spot. You make 4 out of 5 from the corner, you go to 45 degree. Now, if you don't make it here, you go back to the corner. So it's tough. So that's mental. That is mental. I work a lot with, if I have one guy, or if I have 2 guys, let's say, I can say, okay, guys, whatever we do as a group, let's say we're working on 1 dribble pull-ups. One shoots 1, gets the rebound, passes out, the other guy shoots, right? One after the other. You have 2 players. So one after the other, they shoot. It depends on, it could be anything. It could be 2 dribble step backs. It could be 1 dribble pull-ups. It could be floaters. So, to get out of the drill, you got to make 16 out of 20 as a pair. That's physical and mental. It's not easy. And also it adds pressure that the shot, you got to make the shot. You got to make 16 out of 20 to move to the other drill. So if you don't make it, you come back tomorrow. You didn't make it. Well, you kind of fail on that one,
Mike, a big part of your work is communication. And I know that you work in China, the Shanghai Sharks.
Yes, and
you work with Coach Dan Najo. But how were you able to work with Chinese players who didn't know how to speak English? You had to go through a translator. Was that a problem? Well,
let me tell you, that was a big challenge, because we had translators, of course, but a lot of guys, because I was the assistant coach. I was the player developer for the men's team, the CBA team, and I was the head coach of the under 20 team. So in those other under 20 teams, the translator was not there all the time. Because I would go, okay, you guys, how many guys want to work some extra work tomorrow and come early with unorganized, just me out of my head, and 5 guys would come. So when I felt like working them a little extra, there was no translator, so it would come. So I'll go there with 5 Chinese kids that don't speak any word of English, and we had some great workouts, let me tell you, because it's the basketball language. I would do it myself. And then, okay, the corrections were not as accurate as I would want them to be, but at least we got a workout out, Usually you do it with a translator, and we had great translators in both the places that I worked at, Shanghai and Shanxi. Then, because I was there for 8 months, so after a month I was a Chinese, I could just go and the guys loved me, and we just worked. I didn't really need anybody, to be honest, because they knew my drills. They knew my drills, and it was easy. After a point, it got to be easy,
Thank you.
We have a question from Gino. How do you incorporate, do you take into consideration the attitudes of the players in making the drills? Like how you know the players? Does it change depending on the attitude of the player?
Well, the drills depend. The drills depend on the players. Okay, the player that comes to the workout, they have to work on the shots that they will shoot in the game only. Okay, like if I have a pure shooter who comes off, let's say again, I'm going to give you examples of NBA guys. Like if I had Corver or JJ Redick, or like guys that come off the screens and shoot the ball, I'm not going to use pick and rolls with them because they're not going to use it in the game. Maybe a little bit, but so they come to me, and the drills are always on what the workouts are built on what the player does in the game. That's all I'm interested in, unless he's a young kid. But with a pro, that's it. So the attitude of the players, listen, you gotta want it to. Luckily, I don't have any lazy guys. I had in the beginning, I kick them out because listen, like Manila, Greece has hot summers, and we usually work in the summers. All the hard work takes place in the summer. So in the summer, we're talking about 25th of July, 40 degrees outside. A lot of times there's no air conditioning, So, their bodies are on the beach, and here they are with me working out. So if you do that, you're not lazy, So the attitude, I've never had any problems with the attitudes. I mean, some guys, some guys, yeah, they have their buttons. I know a certain player doesn't like to do, let's say, cones. I'm not going to use cones with him. If he's a big time player who doesn't really, even though I still think that it would benefit him, I'd go away from it. I want to keep him happy. But I don't, you learn to compromise a little bit if a guy is really, a big time player, but I mean, I've never had issues with attitude because the drills are fun, and you get your own reputation, and now they know, if you go to Mike, you can't be lazy. There's no way. I mean, no matter who you are, if you're lazy, if you don't feel like working out, that's it.
Okay, so
somebody said something about a newbie.
Newbie.
Yeah, if you're a newbie, how do you get?
How will you convince a player to work with you?
Yeah, if you have passion and you know what you do, you start from the very beginning. I started with one young kid, and the father had stolen the keys of the gym, and we had to go. Me, the father, and the kid. That was my first player. We had to go at 6 a.m. to the place before the janitor, the security guy got in. We had stolen the keys from. So it's a passion. And we left like at 7:30. The guy came at 8. Nobody knew that we were going there. That was my first guy. You never forget where you start from. You get, and then that guy brought a friend, and the other guy brought a friend, and then I got a job with one of the teams again because I was in and out of the league basketball. So when I got back on the league, on the Greek league and the German league and the Greek league, and I worked my guys out, then those guys came in the summer and they brought other players and they came. But you gotta know your stuff so the players trust you. And to learn your stuff, you gotta watch a lot of basketball. You gotta talk. You gotta ask play. I learned a lot from the players, but you gotta watch film. You gotta watch basketball. You gotta know why he scored, why he didn't score. So, and once the player knows that you know your stuff, he will trust you. If you just copy things from the YouTube and go and run drills, okay, you're gonna get some people, but you're never gonna get like serious players that want to get better. You know, running drills is one thing. Getting is a totally different area.
It's an interesting question, Mike, from Charles Creencia. Is it okay to give penalties to the players when they commit mistakes? And what are some penalty drills you can suggest?
You penalty drills?
Mm-hmm.
I don't do that. I don't penalty drills. No, I don't do like in my workouts. Well, maybe for fun. Maybe, you know, if you will do that. If you don't do that, you'll do 10 push-ups, but it's for fun. Not really. I don't believe in penalty drills in the workouts. Because let's say, listen, you got to be the same with everybody. You got to be the same. You got to be honest with all the players. I treat my guys the same. The way I treat an NBA guy or a EuroLeague player, I treat a 15-year-old kid. I don't change my. So if I don't punish Panoulis for doing something, you know, I'm not gonna punish a kid. You know why? I mean, this is how I am. So you know.
I think you've answered some of the questions, like Coach Jay's question about it. We have a question from Coach Ricky, all the way from Indonesia. So I think you talked about a little bit about it. So is it separate workouts for bigs and smalls? Are your workouts individualized?
Yes, I have I mean, I can put them in a work. Okay, we're talking about pros or we're talking about young kids?
Both, because we have also Robbie who's coaching a high school team.
Okay, if you have young kids anywhere from 12, 13 years old, all the way to 18, let's say, before they become pros, and I put them all in a group. I don't care how big they are, if he's a 7-footer, unless he's really heavy, but I put them all in one group. Let's say I have 6 guys, and I have, you know, 2 guards, 2 bigs, 2 wing. I put them all in the group, and I have them do, I mean, I think point guard. Even a really big guy, he's gonna do point guard drills. I want my bigs to be friendly with the ball, to be able to dribble the ball like a point guard. That's what I want. But you can do that at a young age. Then maybe you put the guards in the post-up workout, but it doesn't matter. Your guys, I have guys, my young kids, running up and down, full court dribbling drills, behind the back, cones, you name it. At this age, it has to be only skill work. I don't do any game-like stuff when it comes to young kids. I do exaggerated stuff. It could be—
How old are the kids?
Anywhere from 12, 13 to 18. Anywhere from that age, if you have them in a group, you got to build skills. You got to be, the kids after leaving you, they have to be able to shoot the ball, put the ball on the floor, and be, especially a big who handles the ball is a very valuable tool now. Think about all the short roll actions we have in professional basketball. How the big get, look at the NBA, the big shoot the 3 now. So they have to be able to control the ball and create their own shot, even from the perimeter. But to do that, you got to start from a young age. So when it comes to young people, I don't separate anybody. I just go, it depends. Young bigs and smalls, the same thing. Because our bigs have to be able to, have to be able to control the ball and become very, very fundamental sound. Now, when it comes to the pros, I do separate them, bigs and smalls, because like I said before, you have to take the shots and you work on your game that you do in the game. That's it. So, but a lot of times I would mix it and I would do, let's say I have 2 guys, a point guard and a center. Yeah, I can work them out at the same time. I can use pick and rolls and, the point guard passes to the big and I pass to the point guard, or the vice versa. You can have drills that work, 2 different players out. Or, it could be easy as the point guard gets 5 shots in a row or 7 shots in a row. I rebound, the big man, the other player passes him the ball, and then the big man goes in and he takes 7 of his shots, and we become the rebounders and the passers. It depends. You can do it, but with the pros, to conclude, is I usually go bigs and then I go smalls, or if I have to mix them, I can mix them. But then they do game-like stuff, pick and roll mostly, or you can pass to the big and cut and get the ball for a shot, and the big goes to the move. It depends. But what I want to stress, and it's really important, when you work with young players, do not separate them. Have their bigs do what the guards do. This is what the Serbians and the ex-Yugoslavians did. That's why you have the Toni Kukocs and the Vlade Divacs. And you know what impresses you? You see Tony Kukoc. Tony Kukoc was 209, and he could play the point guard because when he was younger, and I had the luxury and I was lucky enough to meet Tony Kukoc 3 years ago, and he told me I was lucky because they did those things to us when we were 13, 14, 15. I was really tall, but I was working out as a point guard. Okay, not everybody became Tony Kukoc, of course, but that helped him. And look at our guy, Giannis Antetokounmpo. Giannis played the point guard in Greece all his life, and he was the tallest guy on the team. So he goes to the NBA. What makes Giannis so special? Because he's a 7-footer who can dribble as a guard. That's why. I mean, if Giannis was a 4 or 5, he would still be a great player, but he wouldn't be, the MVP or, what makes him special is his ability to dribble the ball and to create, from that. That's what I think. That's my opinion.
So, Coach, if I may ask, how was it coaching or developing Giannis?
I didn't develop him. I didn't develop him. I coached him sometimes. I coached him, I don't know, like 5 or 6 times at different summers, but I didn't develop him. Another coach, he played for another coach. But when he went to the NBA, he came back in Greece for vacation. He wanted to work out. He worked out with me sometimes, but I didn't develop him or anything.
Okay.
It was great working him out. It was a great experience.
Coach, how does it work now that you're with Olympiakos? So the team has its own needs for a player to fit into their system. You have a player now. You have the perspective of the team improving a player's skills, or do you look into the perspective of a player individually?
That's a great question. And you have to combine them. When you're talking about that level, you have to combine both. Because a coach comes in. Let's say, forget Olympiakos for a second. A coach gets a job with a EuroLeague team, and he implements a system, and he says to you, you know what? We have to work these guys out to play with our system. Those are your workouts, your individual workouts. They have to implement our system. But so you teach the players a certain way to play. And for instance, what I mean by that, I don't want that guy to shoot a 3, or I don't want that guy to shoot a floater. Or I don't want a guy handling the ball. I don't want him. Then the coach leaves. Another coach comes in. What happens then? And then he asks different things from the players. So that's a sensitive matter. But I mean, if you're open-minded, you can definitely. I mean, with us, I'm doing the individual work with the players that you get them ready to make shots and to work on their game. So whoever coach comes in, they're ready. Because you teach a player how to shoot the ball off the dribble, how to shoot a step back at transition 3, whatever the case might be. So you work on their game and improve their game. And at the same time, we'll have breakdown drills, 2-on-0, 3-on-0, where we implement our system. But when it comes to one player individual improvement, we improve the guy, the player. So, we care about the player. But then that guy will also do drills at 2-on-0, 3-on-0 that really, break downs of our system. So they learn our system, how they're going to get to, Mike trained you to make a 3, but in our system, you're going to get the 3 from this action or from that action, So you have to
Coach Mike, we have a question from one of our attendees. Coach Benji, you're live. Can you ask the question yourself?
Hello, Coach Mike. Yeah. We've seen an influx of skilled coaches that sometimes the players hire outside the team concept or the team practice. That sometimes we see them do a lot of dribble combinations that develop skills for the players to be handling the ball for a certain amount of time that runs contrary to what the team philosophy is. What's your take on that, Coach?
That's tough. I know. I mean, that's why I said before. But that's tough. I can see why the teams complain. But it goes back to, and I'm just going to say my opinion, right? I mean, it doesn't mean that I'm right. It just goes back to what I said. The YouTube guys that see things on the YouTube and they try to run workouts like that. I mean, let's say that I'm not with Olympiakos, because all my life I've been a freelance coach where players from different teams came to me and worked out. So I have this times 20, because it was 20 different philosophies and coaches that my players played for. So that's why you do what they do in the game, you do in your workouts. I am safe. Again, what coach doesn't want to transition in today's basketball? What coach doesn't want to pick and roll snake? What coach doesn't want to close out, same leg, same hand finish in today's basketball? All players do that. I mean, if you work on what the guy does in the game, I think you're going to be okay. And if you have the trust from the coaches that, the coach doesn't bother you if they know that you're doing the right thing. But it is an issue that, if a coach wants a certain player not to put the ball on the floor and you work him out and he doesn't really put the ball on the floor under this coach. So there's no need, if you work him out 30 minutes a day or 20 minutes a day with cone drills, with two basketballs, with tennis basketball, all those great drills that you can improve a guy's ball handling. But if the guy doesn't use it in the game, you're wasting his time. You got to be honest with the player. You're going to tell him, listen, okay, you come to me because you want to be a better ball handler. But my friend, your coach is not going to give you any pick and rolls. Your coach is not going to allow you to run the break. So there's no ball handling for you. You don't need it. What you need is one dribble pull-ups, two dribble pull-ups, one dribble change of direction, go to the hoop. That we do. But if you want to be a Jason Williams or a Chris Paul with the ball, I'm not going to do it for you because you're not using it in the game. Players come with dreams. Players come with crazy ideas. You got to be the authentic and the realist that brings them down to earth. Okay, that's great if you want to do this, but you're not going to use it. So I'm not going to waste my time, and I'm not going to waste your time. What does a coach want you to do? He wants you to come from the corner to the 45-degree and shoot a three or a transition three. Okay, that's what you're going to do in the game. That's what we're working on. But that, if you want, we're going to have the fake and complete closeout game. Because you're a great shooter, but you need players will run you off the three-point line, will make you a driver. So you got to be a great driver. That we can work on. Yes. Even if your team doesn't want you to, I can put it in the workout because you're going to need it. If you're a great shooter, they will come aggressively at you. They're going to make you put it on the floor. And then what do? That we work on, of course. It's a shooting drill. The layup, it's a continuation of the catch and shoot. It's a counter that the guy comes to you. But if a guy is just a shooter, I'm not going to have him do two drills back. I mean, maybe in the warm-up, he's going to do some ball handling, and that's it. I'm not going to waste any time. If a coach comes to me, because I got a lot of coaches, if the coach calls me and says, listen, so-and-so needs to put the ball on the floor. He just needs to. Then I'm going to do 30 minutes a day ball handling with him. Right. I don't know if this answered your questions.
Yeah, coach. That's I guess the basic thing there is for these skill coaches to be more responsible and be aware of the specific needs of the player and the team.
Keep it simple. My advice, I'm 49 years old. I've been doing this for 23 years. I've gone through every phase of it. I've went through the YouTube phase. I did it myself. I used cones. I use this. I still use cones with young kids. But don't make it crazy. Don't try to impress the player with crazy drills. They're not gonna fall for that. He's not gonna make him better. If he's a shooter, there's great drills to do on the guy's game. You don't really need to do crazy stuff. Keep it simple. What is the guy, a shooter, and how does he get the ball? Let's say the guy, okay, 5 in a row transition threes, 5 in a row from 45 to the corner because there's a baseline drive and you're on the 45 when this happens, you sprint to the corner, 5 in a row, 6 in a row. It depends how many, what the level of the shooter. 4 out of 5 to get out of the drill, 8 out of 10 to get out of the drill. Transition threes, transition fake, one dribble, step back, 4 out of 5. There's things to do, which, are regular basketball. Don't try to do, 10 cones, 2 basketball. With a pro, my opinion is that doesn't work. Don't try to impress the player with crazy drills. Keep it simple and be specific on what you want. It's not easy. There's nothing more challenging than having a guy trying to make 5 in a row. 5 in a row now. You miss the 4th one, you go back to 0. That's not easy. That's challenging. A lot of guys, they don't even finish that.
Coach Mike,
Coach.
we have a question from Mark. How would you assess a player's improvement during a workout or in-game situation? So if you're working with an hour, how many times should they work out with you before you can determine how much improvement they've made, if any? This is a question from Mark.
How do I assess? How do I know that the guy has gotten better? Is that the question?
Right, coach.
Well, at the end of the summer, I mean, this is experience. I wish I were more organized and keeping stats and stuff. I don't do that. I don't really do that. So I with the eye, with experience, I can tell, it's June 5th, and by July 30th, I can know if the guy has made progress. I mean, I can tell him, your feet are quicker, and your shot is looking smoother, and you made a lot of shots, and you put a ball on the floor with a lot more ease the past week, because I notice, when I'm, I haven't played a lot. I mean, having them play 3-on-3 or 2-on-2, you see this is where you see the improvement. In a drill, they look great. You know how many guys I have that look great in the drill and they don't even. And here's the other thing. A good player is the player that impacts the game, influences the game. How do you influence the game? So I have guys that are great in workouts and they go to the game and they just pass. You take one shot, goes in, goes out, doesn't matter, but that's it. They got the frame, they got the athletic ability, the athleticism, you name it. But for some reason, they don't have the character to influence the game. And you see that when they play 2-on-2 and 3-on-3 in my workouts, after the workout. So, I assess the improvement of the player by experience, And I have almost the same guys every summer, so I know them for many years, If a new guy comes in, I know. For instance, I have him do in the first day. If I don't know the guy, he comes in, and I have him do a tough drill, like 5 in a row, 3 in a row, 5 spots, 3 in a row. Let's say a shooting drill, 3 in a row, 5 spots, and he'll finish it in 3 minutes. Then if you do, and then then I know he's an okay shooter. He's not a great shooter. So by work, and then I'll do the same drill towards the end of the summer, and you'll see the improvement then. So usually I do it with drills. That is a drill that I couldn't do it early when they first came, and I'll run the same thing towards the end of the season of the period, and you'll see that they will do it then. And the reason that they will do it then is throughout that period we have drills that build that up.
Coach, here's a question from someone from Dubai. He says, from Angelo Libayan, I'm coaching a school team in Dubai under 12 to 18 with mixed nationalities. I'm doing the same drills for all ages. Is it okay, coach? Or should I divide a drill for the younger ones? I don't have anyone to help me coaching in school.
Don't worry about it. Keep everybody in. First of all, how many are the kids? If we're talking about 12 kids, you have to do 2 groups. It would be better if you did 6 and 6. Okay? Or it could be better if you did 4 and 8. And you could divide them, usually not depending on their age, but depending on the ability to do certain things. But if let's say all of the kids were in the same boat, the same ability, you have them in one group. No, if there's 6, no more than 6. It would be great if you could do 2 groups, and then run the same drills for everybody, because this is how you develop habits. This is what I do. I have pros that I do that. I do cone drills. Let's say you do, okay, let me show you something real quick, okay? So let's say this is the court. I don't know if you guys can see, okay?
Yeah, we can see.
Coach.
There you go. Yeah.
Perfect.
So forget my drawing. I'm not a good drawer, but here's the thing. So you can have, let's say you're gonna have 3 guys here. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Everybody has a ball, okay? And you can have them do you can have cones if you want to, here, and you have them attack the cones, boom, 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 okay? Anything you want. It's up to you. Behind the back, crossover. It could be 2 dribbles here. You know, it could be between the legs and go. It's up to you. How do you do that? You have them do layups, or you have them do shooting. You have them do dribbling. What can you do? Forget the cones. If you have a line here, and you say with 3 dribbles, layup. You teach them how to sprint the ball, sprint the court, and also how to advance the ball. So all these, if you have big guys, let's say, imagine if you have a 203 young kid who's 2 meters high at 14, or a big kid doing that, being able to do that, to dribble the ball and change direction and pace in a full court situation, how easy it will become for him to play in the post. Where in the post, what do you need? 2 or 3 dribbles to make your move. And most of them are stationary, right? When you play with behind the back. I mean, think about it. Then it's so, this is what the players told me. It's so easier for us now to play in the post because we're used to go full court and do all those crazy drills, which means change of direction, change of pace, change of direction again. Play with their imagination and become friendly with the ball at a full speed, because this is not easy to do at 100% with the ball for a big kid, especially. Imagine, and of course it will take time, but imagine how great these guys will be in the post afterwards. Because in the post, what do you do in the post? So in the post, you get the ball here, you get the ball in the block, and you need 2 or 3 dribbles to go to the middle, which is easy. I mean, it's not easy, but it's easier than handling the ball full court at a full speed. You know what I mean? So that builds habits. It makes everything easier. This is one way to do it. There's other ways. You can do it half court. There's other ways to have your guys, be complete players. When you have guys from 12 to 18 years old, you don't think about positions. You think about basketball players. When they have matured and they make money from basketball and they have to get a better contract, then you respect that and you just stick with the plan, stick with what they do.
Coach, we have a question here, all the way from Tanzania. Bahati will be asking a question.
Okay.
Bahati, are you with us?
I'm ready. My question is, how do you deal with the situation where you have a player who has his own needs and the team has his own needs? So how do you handle that?
I'm sorry, you broke up on me. I didn't hear the question. How do you handle a player? Did anybody hear the question?
My question is, what do you do when you have a kind of player with his own needs different with the team needs? Like, how do you deal with that? Do you communicate with the team or just a player?
Oh yeah, I think we answered. So if a player comes to me and he wants to do something that his team doesn't want him to do, is that the question?
Yes.
Yeah. Again, I'm not gonna. It depends on the player, but I mean, I will not do that. I will tell him, listen, we're gonna work only on what you do in the game. What are the shots that you take in the game? Those are the shots that you're gonna work with me, plus counters. It's important. So if your team doesn't allow you to use pick and rolls, or you use like 10 pick and rolls in a year, we're not gonna work on pick and rolls. It's gonna be a waste of time. So, because I'm a believer in invest on your strengths. Like for instance, so this is not even an issue with me. If he wants to do something that he can do, or I'm not gonna work with him. I'm gonna work on what he does in the game. That's it. Otherwise, I'm not gonna just work with a guy. But I mean, for instance, they brought me a couple of 3 or 4 years ago. They brought me this great talent who was a left-handed, and he was an extremely great player at 17. He was killing in the Euro baskets of 19-year-olds. He was the best. So they bring me this kid, and he's a lefty, and he can really go left only. Like 8 out of 10 times he would go left. And then but he was really good at going left. And then he says, he has to go right. Make him go right. Why? Okay, maybe we'll go we'll make 8 out of 10, maybe we'll make it 6.5 out of 10. But his strength is to go left. We got to make him as better as possible on going left, give him more options, because when the game is on the line, he will never go right. You know, he's got to find a way to go back to his left. There's no, I mean, we're going to spend the whole summer making this guy to go right, and he's going to do it in my workouts. He's going to do it in my workouts with defense. But when the pressure of the game comes on in front of national TV and with a medal on the line, a title, he will never go right. Trust me. And if he does go right, he'll miss. So that's a waste of time. You know, make him go, stay with his strengths. If, for instance, okay, which is, well, he has to be able to go somehow to his right. I understand that. But his strength is going left. Oh, for instance, he's a great shooter. I want him to be able to use the pick and roll. Why? That's not his talent. You know, he's not going to be a great pick and roll player. He's a shooter. Stay with his strengths. Like I said, you need, as a player, you need one skill or maybe two. But if you have one skill that gets you in the game, what is that skill, my friend, that gets you in the game? That's your strength. That's what you should invest on. Maybe it's pressure defense. Maybe it's your passing. Maybe it's your shooting. Maybe it's your rebounding. Whatever it is you give your team, maybe, okay, I'm a great rebounder. Okay, I'll put you in the game because I need rebounding now. Okay, you're such a great defender that you can change the game around and pressure the ball and change the game around for us. I'll put you in the game because I know, for instance, Timmy can pressure the ball full court. This is what we need right now. We're down 8 points. We need a comeback. Timmy will give us that. Or we need to stretch the defense so our big man gets more touches. So I'm going to put a shooter in the game. So, you know, they can help off of him. So our big man, you know, is free to play. Whatever it is that gets you in the game, you need to invest on that. If you have two, super. But you need at least one skill that gets you in the game. You know, so if your team doesn't want, I mean, it comes down to what you do in the game. You know, and players, if you ask a player, what is your weakness? I don't have any weaknesses. I can do everything. You know, that's how they are from 12-year-old to the pros. Can you go left? Yeah, I can go left, but they can't go left. Can you use the pick and roll? Of course you can use the pick and roll, but they're not letting me do it. You know, they're not stupid. They see something. Players think they can do anything, but they can't. And you got to let them know that. You're 27 years old and you haven't used the pick and roll. Why use it now? You're going to be mediocre. Stick to what you do best. You know, like for instance, me, I'm turning 50 years old. I do what I do. Now, if I go to my wife and tell her, you know what, I want to become a head coach, she'll get a pan and hit me with the head with it. You know, why? Unless I'm out of a job and the only thing out there is a head coaching job somewhere that I can feed my family and can provide, I'll take it. Other than that, I don't want to mess with it. It's not me. You know what I mean?
Coach Mike, I have a follow-up.
Yeah.
I have a follow-up question to that. Since you were 18, you wanted to be a basketball coach. You've been in the game for 23 years. Could you give us 5 qualities that a basketball coach should possess in order to be successful from your experience?
Wow, that's a tough one. 5 qualities? Okay. Are you talking about, it depends on the coaches. Again, I separate the coaches at the professional level and the coaches with the youth. Those are 2 different situations. Okay? When you coach the youth, first of all, no matter who you coach, you got to love the players. You got to love them. You got to be there to help them out. This is your job. And they're going to help you out. They're going to help you back in return. But if you want to talk about being the head coach, is totally different. You need a lot of stomach. Like if you're going to be a EuroLeague coach, first of all, you need to have character, and you need to be, let's say, I don't know how this will sound, a bad guy. You don't have the luxury to care if, let's say you play a game and you don't play 2 players, you know, you can't worry about that. And those players are mad and angry at you and depressed. You can't worry about that. If you worry about these guys, you're not up for a EuroLeague coaching job. You got to be tough. You got to worry about winning games. Okay, there's guys that will not set a foot on the floor. Those guys will probably cry afterwards. I don't care about that. I really don't. I want to win games. So you got to be in your approach in winning games, and you got to be honest with the players. Okay, first of all, I don't know if there's even 5 skills, Teddy. It could be 1. You got to be honest, and you got to have the character to not be influenced by outsiders, like the press, what the press saying about you, what the fans are saying about you. This is the character. You need to have the character. You need to be honest with the players, and you need to love the guys. The player that you don't play, he needs to know that you love him, but it was a game. I couldn't play you. It doesn't mean that you're not a good player. I mean, I have you on my team.
Right.
Or for whatever reason, or if you go to a team and you don't like certain 2 guys, you tell them, listen, guys, I don't know how much you're going to play. I'm sorry. You got to be honest with the players. But in order to be a professional coach, to make a living out of coaching and in senior teams, you got to be tough. You got to have the character. You can't worry about what they say about you. Those people are going to say bad things about you. I mean, you can't convince everybody. There's going to be you're going to win titles, and there's still going to be guys that say, he's not a great coach. You got to fight through that. I mean, you can't worry about that. You worry about your team and winning games and be on the same page with the management and the players. Now, if you're a youth coach, you got to love the guys, and you got to dream of them becoming great. And you got to have the hunger and to make them better, to make them complete players. Forget about positions,
Thanks,
But I
Mike.
mean, again, it's about character, having the character. I mean, when you work with youth, you can't worry about being famous as a coach. You work with youth. Nobody knows you, but you're changing kids' lives. When you're a famous coach in the EuroLeague, you can't worry about what they say about you. You got to be honest. You got to be a student of the game. You got to see what basketball is going to and be a student of the game every day. I watch film every day. 3 years ago, I had some film from 3 years ago. It doesn't go by anymore. 3 years ago. You can't show that to a guy. Defenses collapse now. They changed that. They don't run this stuff anymore. You got to know, you got to be a student of the game. You need to have character, and you need to be authentic and honest and love your guys.
Excellent point.
Thanks, Mike.
I know we're down to the last 5 minutes because coach has an appointment. We got a bit confused on the.
Oh, you guys are lucky
time zone.
that I'm leaving, because I can stay here until tonight.
I was gonna ask for some favorite drills, but I guess we can do that in another time.
Anytime you guys want, we're gonna do it tomorrow. Anytime you guys want for drills, just let me know.
Yes. So with that,
I wanted to ask one question, if I
okay.
may.
Yeah.
There's still time.
Parting
Coach,
questions.
how much have you seen of the Philippine national team? Philippines played Greece in the 2014 FIBA World Cup in Spain. If you've seen some footage of the Philippine team in action, where do you think the Filipino players need to improve on outside of height?
Yeah, the frame. I mean, to be honest, us Greeks too. But I mean, the frame is always an obstacle for But here's the thing. I think the national teams that I've seen, I don't really remember exactly the pros and cons of those teams, but I have a view of a very fast and aggressive team. That's how it was in my mind. They're quick and they do everything very fast and very aggressive. It was like kamikazes, That's how I saw them. But I don't really remember plays or whatever. But think about it. Kind of Filipino play in the Greek league or in the EuroLeague. That's, and again, it goes back to the passports. Like if it was let's say it was a global league where you can have 10 guys from Africa or 10 guys from the Philippines or 10 guys from Canada. I'm assuming that, some of these guys would come and play easily in the Greek league, for sure. But I mean, if you have only 4 foreigners to sign or 6 foreigners to sign, import players, as a Greek team, let's say, you're going to go to the United States and get, or maybe Serbia, You can't really take the risk of signing a guy from the Philippines. Maybe. I'm not saying no, but if it was an unlimited, you can have anybody you want. Maybe I'm telling you those guys could easily play. I don't know if they could play as imports, but talent-wise and skill-wise, they could easily fit in any major league. At least the guys I've seen. You know.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Coach. Again, we'd like to thank you for your time. You know, I know a lot of our attendees learned a lot.
It was. They're gonna learn a lot more once we get the drills down, because I'm gonna show them drills with 1 guy, 2 guys, 3 guys, 4 guys, for all levels. So if you guys want to arrange that another time, I would be happy to share some ideas and drills, which totally will help your team and you as a coaches out. But it was a really great honor and great time. I had the best time. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yes, for sure. We will have a part 2 with Coach
Yes.
Mike, for sure.
You better keep that. You gotta keep that word now.
Of course. Thank you so much, Coach. And for the coaches, don't leave yet, our attendees. We will be back again in about 40 minutes for Coach Joey. Yeah, he will have a presentation that he's got to present. So we'll see you again in 40 minutes. So I'd like to thank Kinito and Teddy here. For those questions that wasn't answered, we will be answering them. I'll pass him to Coach, and he'll be answering them one by one, and I can email or I can post it over at the Facebook page of Hoop Coaches. Any parting words, the Dean?
Well, I'm very impressed with Coach Mike. One thing that I remember that he mentioned that I was surprised with was he took up criminal justice when he was in school in New Jersey. And maybe he used some policeman tactics in trying to get the best out of his players in his player development techniques. Nice guy to talk to.
Yeah, very, very cool. Cool guy. And Teddy, any parting words before we again come back in 40 minutes or so? So it's
we were able to maximize the time of Coach Mike, and he was very open and gracious in answering all the questions. So I look forward to part 2 with him.
All right. So I would like to thank all the attendees, and Blackwater will give out a gift packs to some choice attendees. We'll raffle it off during the second or the third session. So we'll see you again, and thank you so much. Again, if you want to see a replay of the session, the whole session, the first session, it's live on, it'll be streamed. It's on the YouTube channel of Hoop Coaches International. And again, we'd like to thank Blackwater. Mabago na, malinis na, mabango pa. Siyempre, Blackwater Elite. And I'd like to thank the Dean and Teddy here, and also coaches from the BCAP, led by BCAP President Louis Gonzalez for spreading the word. Also, Coach John Chico from SBP Coaches Commission, and Alan Ricardo of the Coaches Community, and to Spin, Star, and all the coaches from Malaysia, Singapore, Indonesia, Thailand, and those other coaches, even from Tanzania and Dubai that tuned in. And thank you very much. And hope to see you again in 40 minutes or so with Coach Joey Cantens. He's a young, energetic coach, and I'm sure you'll learn a lot from him. And he's a college coach right now, but he's coached in Europe, and so he's excited to be with you all. So again, thank you so much, and we'll see you again.